John, back after a decent break into action on Sunday.
Yeah, it's been I think it's been a good break. Obviously, the lads had a few days off last weekend. We had been in a very hectic schedule up to that, but we trained hard this week. Most guys are back on track, and obviously we know it's a big game on Sunday. Every game now is huge, but in particular for Martin Russell after taking over Limerick, and he's building it up as being a huge Munster derby, and obviously we'll have a big crowd following us, and it's crucial that we can stay on the heels of Dundalk.
And injury news, Rob Lehan back hopefully?
Yeah, Rob has been back. It's great to have him back because I really felt that in the early part of the season, he was coming on, doing well, and he got into a great spell there where he was, I suppose, being a nuisance to opposing teams when he was coming on, and then unfortunately picked up that nasty injury away to Shamrock Rovers in the League Cup, which is after sideline him. But thankfully he's back and he's trained this week, and he's looking sharp, and it's brilliant to have him back because again he gives us another option up front, and he's one of those type of players that he can play straight through the middle, he can play wide, and really determined player, and a guy who I feel has a massive future with us, and I'm delighted to have him back. John O'Flynn is 50-50, dropped out of training last Friday, and still hasn't trained with us, due to train in the morning, so we'll see how he is. And other than that, I think we're sort of Killy Morrison had a knock, and Gavin Cavan have a knock, but I expect other than that everyone to be available, bar the two suspended players, Darren and Gary Buckley.
How big a loss will they be, John? Because obviously there are two key players in the team, centre half.
Yeah, it's centre half and a centre mid, and I suppose crucially both guys who are well capable of scoring goals. Gary Buckley's got a lot of goals for this year. Darren's got a lot of goals, particularly from set pieces. He's been responsible for the great run of a lot of clean sheets we've had this year. So from that point of view, of course, losing any player through suspension is disappointing. But in the current climate, 4 bookings, and it equates to a 1-game suspension over a season when you're playing 38-40 matches. That happens, and we've known about it for 2 weeks. We've made provisions. We've done work on the shape of the team and what we want to play. And plus the fact, I suppose, the other side is that it gives opportunity for guys to come in, and there's lots of fellas biting at the bit who are sort of coming in. Billy had been out the last day. Billy comes back in contention. I suppose Josh comes into contention. Liam is in contention. Dave O'Leary's in contention. John Kavanagh. So it gives all Michael McSweeney, Gavin. So it gives all those guys a real opportunity when these things happen. And to be fair, when these guys have come in, they should have done fantastic. And I think that's why we have a good strength and depth. So while it's always disappointing when a fella gets suspended, still at the same time, it throughout the season we've been able to deal with that.
One that you must be really happy about is when you spoke about the defence. Only 21 goals conceded in 27 games, and when you consider there's a 4-0 in there against Dundalk and 3 to Pats, it's like 14 goals in 25 games. That's phenomenal. Yeah,
I suppose it's an area we tried to address at the start of the season, and we did that. We got a settled side, we settled back 5, and to be fair to the guys, they've worked really hard. And it is an impressive record. From my point of view, I don't really want to dwell on it too much because we've the run-in at the moment, and it's crucial that while Dundalk got the game ahead of us with Derry, it's just crucial for us that it's a huge game for us, very difficult, particularly go to Thomond Park, such fantastic stadium, but unfortunately from a crowd point of view and a surface point of view, maybe after Friday night's rugby match, can be difficult, and obviously the wind is a big factor up there. So I'm just hoping that we can be positive, take the game to Limerick, and hopefully come out on top and keep the pressure on Dundalk.
They're missing a few players as well. Shane Duggan and Jason Hughes are suspended for them.
Well, I suppose the key thing for them is that obviously Shane is missing. Shane Duggan, who we know well, who's a real driving force on their team. Really, Jason Hughes hasn't featured for a while. He's come on a bit, but he hasn't really started for the last 4 or 5 matches. I suppose Ian Turner, who we've loaned to Limerick, and Ian has done very well since he's gone up. He's played regularly, which he needed. He's got his confidence back, and obviously with our arrangement he can't play. So I think Ian is certainly going to be a loss to him, because so Ian and Shane are two regular players for them. So from that point of view, that they lose two as well. Obviously they've got Gaffney up front, who's turned into a tremendous player. He's got a lot of goals this season, and he looks as if he's going to be a really, really top League of Ireland striker. And then, of course, they've got Lee Lidge from St. Pat's on loan, who again, a very strong player. And as well as that, I suppose, look at across the back, they still have Folan and OJ, and these guys, the two of them together, were quite strong defensively. So they have their strengths, but at the same time, it's important for us that we have to play at our high intensity, and we have to play well, and we know that. And we expect a big Cork crowd up there, and we're just, as I keep saying, is that it's important to us, like the Shamrock Rovers match, that we have the right intensity, we have the right focus, and that we can deliver and keep the pressure on Dundalk.
You mentioned Gaffney. Would he be a target for next season?
Oh God.
Next season talk already,
I suppose, yeah, you know me long enough to know now that I take it one game at a time, and obviously, don't get me wrong, I've spoken to the club about our plans for next year from that point of view, because you have to, as a progressive manager, you have to do those things. But there's nothing in my mind, only Sunday getting up there, hoping that we're all ready and that we can go out and get the right result, and because it's crucial and it's critical at this stage. And what we really don't want is that we don't want sort of to give Dundalk an easy run in. And I suppose, look, at what we're trying to do is, one, qualify for Europe, but two, see can keep the pressure on Dundalk to see maybe can we get it to the last game of the season, and if we don't get results over the next couple of weeks, we won't be able to do that, and that's what we need to do.
I know you don't like talking about other clubs, but is there a few cracks appearing in Dundalk? Haven't won now in 3 games.
I have no idea. All I know is that they've been a fantastic team. They've done brilliantly all year. Cup is cup. Those one-off games, anything can happen. And just from our point of view, is that we have to try and keep the pressure on. So if we don't deliver the results, they're going to win the league before the last game of the season. And that's what we're trying to avoid happening.
John, just on keeping on the heels of Dundalk, and that, were you disappointed in Derry's approach to the game? 7 changes. I know they're in the cup quarter-finals on the Friday, but they made 7 changes. Dundalk won 5-0.
Well, I think Derry going to Dundalk with a full strength team was going to be difficult anyway, because Dundalk are such a great side at home. But at the same time, look, I can't speak for Derry, can't speak for Peter. That's his choice, what he wants to do. The only thing I wouldn't agree with is that he said every manager in the league would have done that, and all I stated was that I wouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't believe that's the way you do those things, because I've seen too much, and the wheel always comes around, and it comes around a lot quicker than a lot of people think. So what he decided to do was his decision, and in the best interest of Derry, good luck to it. Nothing to do with Cork City, nothing to do with me. I've only took after my own side, but at the same time, it wouldn't have been the way I would have done it. But that's just the way it is. Look, at we're in the semi-final of the cup. To be fair, Derry's way to Europe is to win the cup, and they have a good opportunity. Yeah, so whether it's justified or not, they have a good opportunity. Whether if they win the cup, it might have been, you look back and say it was justified, but and then again they may not win the cup. But at the same time, I've huge things to worry about down in Cork and get things right. So I've a lot of other headaches.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect you to comment, but it was a strange call by the league. I mean, it was 2 weeks before Dundalk played in the cup as well. The cup final and coming up on Saturday. It's very strange to fix a game.
Yeah, well, I suppose, look, I didn't realise they had brought it forward, and then obviously I saw it. So I suppose from that point of view, it was probably disappointing, because it definitely gave Dundalk a massive advantage. But then early in the season, because of Dundalk's European games, they ended up bringing Draga's game before the break, and UCD's game before the break. So they actually had 2 home league games that both came before the break, which, because of the European exploits. And one of those games at the time, Drogheda at that particular time were in a horrendous run, and they were really down, and they had lots of suspensions, and the game ended up 7-0, which is very unusual in our league, that any team You know, you see games where teams lose maybe 3-1 or 4-1 the odd time, but you seldom see scorelines like 5-0, 6-0 or 7-0, to be fair, because the competitive of the league, and there's no one team worse than anyone else. And you look at that Athlone, who've down there at the bottom, like they're battling and they have a right chance of staying up. You know what I mean? But no one's gone to Athlone and hammered Athlone 5 or 6-0 at all this season. They've eaten by the odd goal, so it just shows how competitive the league is. So it's very rare for those type of scorelines. But there's probably an element that the Dock got a couple of games at the right time that suited them. But good luck to them. All we can do is we still have an opportunity to stay in there. We have an opportunity to qualify for Europe. We're really close to Europe, but we have an opportunity that we can still keep the pressure on Dundalk and maybe bring it to the last game. And if we can do that, you know, start of the season, you'd say, well, look, we'll take it. And just try to make sure that we're focused and keep our heads in, not to drop points that it'll end up that maybe Dundalk will have the League One before we get there.
Well, Gary, back after the break, I suppose first things first, signed until the end of next season.
Yeah, very happy to sign. I definitely think it's the best place for me to be right now. I think since I've been at the club, since I signed when I was 17, to now I've really developed as a player, and even last year under John I've improved even more, and I hope to continue that next season as well under John's guidance.
We kind of knew you last season, or we did know you last season as a centre back. Were you surprised to end up where you were in the team, and are you happy with your own form? You've tuned in with a good few goals.
Not really, because I've played in that role all through my younger years, even playing with Cork City underage, and John seen that in pre-season that I could play in that role, and I did, and he played me a couple of pre-season games and I got a couple of goals, so it's just been forward since then.
Disappointed to be out on Sunday?
Very disappointed after a 2-week break, and I have another week to go, but I'll work hard on my week's break and hopefully be ready for and available next weekend.
Is this the second or third suspension this year?
My fourth.
Oh, Jesus. Go on.
Gary, do you feel like you've gotten better in the position as you've learned it as the season's gone on?
Yeah, definitely, because you know more with the players your opposition you play against as well, because you play them 3 times in a season, and obviously the more you play the role, the more you become accustomed to it, so I definitely think I've improved as the season went on.
And with having Garrod Morris and Colin Healy next, kind of gives you a little bit of freedom to
Definitely,
forward.
because you know Colin and Garrod dictate the games, they have the brilliant players, and Marky wins a lot of headers, so I just feed off Marky, and knowing that I don't have to get back all the time, that Colin and Garrod are there, so that's what mostly I've scored all my goals, because of Colin and Garrod gave me license to get forward.
Are you talking about a title challenge amongst yourselves?
No, John doesn't leave us, but no, we really do. It's not no cliche that we take every game as it comes, but we really do, because that's all you have to do. You have to look at the game in front of you, otherwise we're going to lose points, and that's what we're doing next game.
It's exciting though to be in this position with just a couple of games left, isn't it?
Yeah, we would have bitten your hand off at the start of the season if we were in this position, because our aim at the start of the season was obviously Europe, but now that we're in that, we want to box off Europe and we want to go for the title. That's what we want now.
Alright, that's brilliant,
Just
Gary.
on the European thing, Gary, there, a lot of people are saying, you know, players here have a far better chance of playing European competition than some of the young fellas going to England in the lower divisions. Like Cork City have a very good European record over the years. Do you know what I'm saying? Like the clubs in lower have a championship, they're never going to play in European competition. Is that a big attraction for people to come to Cork? If you're kind of firstly guaranteed European football every season?
Yeah, I definitely think so, because it's an absolute huge experience. It's great to have in your CV. I know players in England don't do that, but that's just the way it is, because it's a lot harder to get to Europe over in England, where in Ireland the top 3 or 4 get to Europe, but massively it's a big experience in your career to have in your CV.
Yeah, I mean Rovers obviously, I know that it was the Europa League, but I mean they got 12 matches in it.
12
Which was brilliant for them, for the club, and just from the financial point of view as well, and the games.
Financial point of view, yeah.
Really,
But even if you get to Europe here, you could lose your tie and you're out straight away, so...
yeah. Are you looking forward to clinching it? Maybe
Well, clinching, yeah, well, it's not ticked off, just said, there's a lot of games to play, there's a lot of points we played for, so that's our main aim right now, and as soon as we've done that, then we have to catch them down the last game.
Just on the goals, and it is, you have 7, is it, in 23 matches?
7 goals.
They're closing in hopefully on the double figures before the end of the season.
Maybe 5 games.
But you're happy with that return?
Yeah, I'm
it's
happy.
a good ratio for midfield.
Happy, especially from midfield.
Cheers, Bucks.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks for that.